Hello everyone, this is the finale of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. They lay there, barely breathing with their boss hooked up to machines to keep them alive, as they were stripped of their clothes, armor, and anything else that might get in the way of the recovery process. The ones they loves in the large room waiting to see any kinds of improvement in their condition for days now, but nothing good happened despite Tsunade's skills along with Haku's, and Hinata by her side for further support since Shizune being unable to help due to her pregnancy. The attack by Trigon had effectively put Naruto and Slade in a very painful predicament where either one could at any moment. The only sign aside from their breathing that they were still alive was the fact that their still scarred and bandaged hands could still move to cover one of their lovers. I can't believe this is how it's going to end for them. So troublesome, said Shikamaru, only to get floored by an infuriated and tear-filled Yamanaka Ino. Shut up, Barker. Naruto-kun is not going to said Ino, as she didn't want to be a widow, and wanted to enjoy her marriage with the Namikas. Naruto-kun will fight to the end to be with us, said Haku, who like Hinata believed that Naruto would not simply and leave them regardless of his injuries. Be as that may, Naruto's condition, and Slade's for that matter, are not improving like we had hoped, said Tsunade entering the room, as she had just gone to Slade's room where Kurenai was by his side whispering sweet nothings into his ear to help the demon lord with his injuries, and hope the man would pull through. That's because they are still connected to each other until Naruto turn 18 years old, when the seal is finished with its current task and dissolves completely to break the connection they have, said Gaara, as Terra had told him what Slade told her, and the former shinobi from Suna felt that the man once known as the Kyuubi knew this might happen to him. So we wait for another 2 years of them suffering before we see who makes it out of this race to stay alive the longest, said Tayuya, as she saw her lover suffering from burns, the loss of skin, and the overall pain of being nearly obliterated by a giant demon with 4 soulless red eyes. No, we wait until we're sure that the worst is over, said Tsunade, as she saw the vitals of her surrogate little brother showing just how close he was to death, and her body had become tense with every beep noise the machine made. Mother, help, me, said Naruto, as he let out a rasp of breath, and his body began to jerk every few seconds. Oh damn it, said Tsunade, as she cleared the room of its occupants, and she along with Shizune tried to keep Naruto civilized with his condition becoming extremely dangerous at the moment. Naruto can't take much more of this, Tsunade-sama, said Shizune, as she tried to keep Naruto alive, and Tsunade herself prepared a needle DS with medication to counteract his current condition. I know. We just need to keep working on him for as long as possible until his condition has fully civilized, said Tsunade, as she tried to keep Naruto slay, and prayed that Kami would show her mercy this one time in letting someone close to her be spared the hand of death. With Slade, the 9-tailed demon lord lay on the bed in pain like never before, as his mate sat in the chair beside him with a wet cloth in her hand, and rubbed the wet item along his forehead to let the water soothe the man's aching body. All Kurenai could do was let out soothing words into his ears and let Slade know that she would be with him to the end. Don't leave me, Slade-kun. Please don't leave me, said Kurenai, as she let one of her hands run along his arm gently enough to keep any pain he may feel from her touch to a minimum, and he seemed to be responding to her in a positive way. Kure-chan, said Slade, let out barely being considered a whisper, as he didn't need his still closed eyes to tell him that his loving mate was in the room, and that she had been supporting him through this trial. I'm here, my mate. I will never leave your side, said Kurenai, as she held onto Slade's arm with gentle hands, and smiled at the notion her love was strong enough to speak his pet name for her. It was a good sign. Namika's estate 3 days later. The entire family of Namika's members sat in the living room with worry on their faces and hoped that the ones they loved would pull through in this endeavor. Slade seemed to be having a better chance because of his demonic healing, but it seemed to be going at a much slower rate than expected because he was in a way supporting Naruto, and it was taxing the demon lord heavily. Whatever strength Slade had used to heal his body, he was diverting half of it to Naruto, and was doing little to help the young shinobi even with the medical support of Tsunade along with the others. Why did Tsunade-sama send us away? We should be there right now to help Naruto-kun heal, said Haku, as she wanted nothing more than to be by Naruto's side to whatever end this trial put him through, and kiss him when he recovered enough that he could. Because we need our strength to recover when Tsunade gives out, said Hinata, as she had along with Haku been drained by this during their shifts in healing Naruto, and they needed to rest at home on Tsunade's orders until she herself could no longer do it alone. If Naruto SS now, I don't think I could live with myself, said Haku, as she loved that young man with all her heart, and didn't know if she could live without him. Same here, said Sasum with the others in full agreement since there was no other guy like him in the elemental countries. The days soon became weeks, as the girls trained when they weren't visiting Naruto, and it was in that time they noticed things were changing within them too. They felt sick at times, vomiting in the morning, and finding themselves feeling like they were sick yet they were still in good health. It was only when they visited Tsunade in the hospital after checking up on Naruto's current condition, and they all learned what it was. They were pregnant. All of them were. Now the question now was, would Naruto wake up before or after the children were born? At the moment, now is the time. The demon and his vessel are at their weakest. It's time to kill them both before they infect more of Konoha, said a civilian, as he got cheers from people in his home, and saw the people both civilian like him along with the shinobi in the room agree that now was the time to strike. It wasn't like the Yondaime would need to worry about seeing his clan out, as he had his second normal child growing right now within the mother's womb, and felt that was the child that needed to be loved. We strike within the hour. Civilians will create a massive blockade to prevent the demon-loving shinobi from getting in while the shinobi of our group attack the two, and show them they are not welcome in our village, said a Junin shinobi, who saw the people cheer, and call for the demon along with his vessel to rest painful deaths. Konoha's hospital 2 hours later. Hinata sat by her lover's bed, as his wounds healed from his battle with Trigon that still had left a major imprint within her mind of how powerful a single NT could become so powerful, and put her hand on his own bandaged one. She had seen him the most if you didn't count Haku tying her for the same amount, but they never really kept score on that, and only waited for the day that Naruto would awaken to love them once more. Wake up soon Naruto-kun. I want you to see the child I will one day have and the others will have so we can show just what we created. I want to see you smile at the sight of our children growing up training to be expert shinobi like us and eventually find that special someone of their own that will one day turn us into grandparents, said Hinata, as she had told them earlier about all of his harem girls being pregnant with his child, and saw his hand twitched at that. When that moment happened, Hinata thought he would wake up at that news, but it didn't happen, and while it was a good sign that Naruto understood, it also meant he had a long road ahead. Her thoughts on the matter were shattered however, when the noise of an angry mob reached her ears from Naruto's hospital window, and Hinata could feel her heart freeze in that moment in time. She knew why they were here, she knew they wanted Naruto-s, and she knew that if Naruto-SD now Slade would too. And that would Kyuhi Kurenai. K the demons. Destroy the monsters. With the sounds from outside the hospital, as the group of shinobi from Junin to Chunin entered while a large group of civilians were blocking the entrance. No, not now, thought Hinata, as she saw Naruto sensing it too, and his heart monitor was showing the beeping of the output coming from his heart. Hinata, there are those that seek to end Naruto-kun and Slade-san's life, said Hana, as she had come in to see her lover too, and then this happened with the mob outside. Where is Kurenai-sensei? Said Hinata, as she knew her former teacher needed to be informed of this, and possibly try to protect her mate. She's with Slade-san right now, said Hana, as she knew that Kurenai no doubt heard the cries from the mob outside, and was already preparing for it. Who else is here? Who else can we trust? Said Hinata, as she saw Hana think, and was hoping that there were more of her sisters, or her close friends in the hospital. I don't know Hinata-san. But I do know that this mob won't stop any of the others from coming here for long, said Hana, as she sensed Naruto's enemies from within the village getting closer, and she prepared herself for battle. Namikaze estates at the moment. How is Naruto's condition? Said Rin, as she saw her old sensei having a look of worry on his face that she hadn't seen since the Third Shinobi War, and that was when he was about to use his infamous jutsu that helped end it. From what Tsunade told me, his recovery is coming along nicely, but it will take time, and Slade's condition is not far behind. I worry about Naruto not because of his injuries, but the fact that people still hate him in this village, and may use this as a means to strike him down to Slade, said Minato, as he wished he never put his eldest son through this, and wished he had thought up another way in dealing with this situation better. His thoughts were interrupted when Shizune came bursting into the room. Minato, there is a mob of people at the hospital trying to kill your son and Slade. There are already several shinobi that making their way to him with a large mob of civilians blocking the entrance, said Shizune, as she saw Minato's eyes widen, and then narrowed them with a fury coming off of his form that she had not seen in all the time she had known him. Get the others. I know a few of them are already at the hospital, so find the others and make sure they know what's going on. As for me, I'm going to deal with this in the manner that it should have been done the moment I came back to life, said Minato, as he made his way to the hospital, and hoped the others got to his son in time. At the hospital, out of the way demon lover. We are going to put that abomination down once and for all, said Arjunan with his sword drawn, as he tried to get by Hana, but found her being quite difficult, and wasn't letting him through. How many times do you fools need to have your ass kicked before you realize Naruto is not a demon? He's a person like you or me that holds one for your safety. I can't even begin to believe that you really have so little faith in the Yondaime seal, said Hana, as she was using her sword to block them within the hallway she was in, with Hinata being Naruto's last line of defense. Shut up. That boy is like all the others, a demon abominations, and must be cleansed from this world, said a Chunin behind the Junin, as they had come to believe that all demon vessels were crimes against Kami, and needed to be destroyed for the good of the human race. Regardless of what you think, I love him, and I'm not about some arrogant bastard's end his life after he just saved all of us from certain doom, said Hana, as she blocked another strike aimed at her by the Junin, and the Chunin behind him was going through hand signs. Before the Chunin could finish making the jutsu, however, he was soon taken down after his back was turned into a pincushion, and an angry Haku was ready with senbon needles in her hands. She had heard the cries of outrage from the mob calling for her lover's death, and it sent her into a rage she had not felt in a long time, if ever, at those that would try to take away one of her most precious of people in her life. You dare attempt to hurt Naruto-kun. For that, I will see to it you all painfully, said Haku, as she sensed another shinobi behind her, and disabled the man's right side before striking the man's left side with a series of taijutsu moves she learned from Mato Gai, with the last strike running half her arm through his chest where the heart was located. Demon lovers, said another Junin, as he along with an Anbu, and charged at the two female shinobi. However, what the two shinobi that were out of Naruto should have realized that the two women that loved Naruto were not about to give an inch, and would do everything within their power to save the man they loved. Outside of the hospital 10 minutes later. I'm giving you all of 5 seconds to move away before I kill you, said Minato, as he saw the civilians continue to hold the ground, and it seemed to infuriate him even further. He's bluffing. Hold your ground so the shinobi inside can finish off the two monsters, said the leader of the civilian mob, and the crowd did as ordered. I warned you. Now, Hiraishin no Jutsu, said Minato after he threw the special kunai at them in a flash of yellow. He was gone from their sight, and soon they couldn't see anything either, for they were all Jiraiya was behind his first student, seeing the man letting out a heavy sigh at doing what he had to do, and knew that Minato knew it was either them or his son that had to Minato wasn't about to lose his son twice. The girls are upstairs. They have taken down the other shinobi. Naruto is safe now, said Jiraiya, as he saw Minato look back at him, and nod before entering the hospital to see his son for himself. Naruto's hospital room 5 minutes later. Hinata had checked with her Byakugan to see the enemies of her lover were now and the Yondaime was on his way to see his son. Looking over at Naruto's recovering form, Hinata leaned down, and kissed his forehead to ensure he knew that he was safe. Imagine her surprise when within seconds of the kiss, Naruto began to wake up, and saw Hinata looking at him with joy at seeing him awake. She then kissed him on the lips with tongue and felt him returning it with what strength his just conscious mind could deliver. Wow, that's some wake-up call, said Naruto, as he looked up at his first love, and she smiled at him with tears running down her face before returning to kiss him again. I'm so happy you are awake, said Hinata, as she kissed him again, and was crying with tears of joy at his return while hugging him. Me too, said Naruto, as he wished he could move right now to hug Hinata, but found his body was too weak to do it, and decided to wait until he had the strength to do so. Among other things. Hint. How are the others since Trigon's death? No one SD right, said Naruto, as the thought of losing any of the girls, his friends, and out off or his family were too much for his heart to take. No, Kurenai is with Slade right now, and I also saw Gaara along with Terra, so he's okay too, said Hinata, as a few shinobi had gone after Slade, but they had been taken out by the three of them, and would most likely reawaken within the week. That's good. So, how have you and the other girls been? I seem to remember something about you along with them being pregnant, was it? Said Naruto, as he saw Hinata blush before nodding, and saw the look of happiness that came across his eyes. Yes, all of us were worried about when you would awaken, but now that you have, I don't think it will be a problem anymore, said Hinata, as she kissed him a slow, very sensual way that made his body feel alive again, and if only he wasn't injured he would take his wife like he did on their honeymoon with the other girls. Speaking of which, Naruto-kun, yelled Hana with joy, as she nearly dived onto him since her yell had broken the kiss he had with Hinata, and was replaced by a slobbering one from the very happy Inuzuka, now Namika's woman that was one of his many wives. If she wasn't one of his wives, thought Hinata, as she had to suppress the desire to tear Hana a new hole since they were both carrying Naruto's child, and it wouldn't help in making the man she loved a partial widower. I missed you. When you get home, I'm going to snuggle with you, and slobber all over your sea body so much you want to leave our bed, said Hana, as she ignored Hinata's now fuming face, and Naruto's laughter at having such an affectionate woman. One of many affectionate women in his family. I look forward to it, but for now Hana-chan, why don't you get the others, and tell them that I'm awake, said Naruto, as he wanted to see his family again, and see their happy faces. Some 20 minutes and 200 kisses later. So this means we're going to have a chance to catch a breather, right? Settle down, raise our children, and see them grow up, said Temari, as she had really wanted to have a breather from all of this, and see her child, or children, grow up strong. That's right, Temari-chan. No one is going to ruin our family, and I'm making damn sure that our happiness is never taken away from us, said Naruto, as he saw his father nod at that, and look over at Shizune with a smile on his face that made the woman blush. Slade had woken himself up too, feeling like he had been run over by a 500-ton freight train, and was immediately greeted by Kurenai seeing him awake before giving him his much-needed affection. Needless to say, he was going to have himself occupied with Kurenai for a long time, and Naruto was just fine with that after the Demon Lord helped him out so much in the past. Gaara, Sasam, and Sakura were all busy themselves in doing a little reproducing of their own, so they were going to be away from him for the next couple of weeks. Terra was no doubt jumping Shikamaru's not-so-lazy bone, as she had dominated pretty much all of their relationship, and the now Shadow Demon joined the Whip Nara Males Club, while Terra joined the Dominate Women Over Lazy Men Club. All in all, everything was right in the world with everyone for the first time in a very long time. They were all a family, and there was no one left to stop them. Fin. X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.